Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue of Southeast Asia TV. For those who missed the show or didn't see the show before for the first time, this is an initiative where we try to invite personalities from all around the world who happen to be in Cambodia, those personalities who have a lot of experience in their own right, whether they are in the scientific world, in the diplomatic world, in the business world. We hope that through this frank exchange with them, we could extract a few good ideas from their experience, from what they're doing, and hopefully the audience in the country, whether they're in the government, the private sector, civil society, or just students, they could get some of few ideas and hopefully they could apply in their life, in their community, and hopefully they could transform their society, the people around them, their environment. And tonight we'll be talking about Cambodia and its industrial development. And I have the great pleasure to welcome a very long colleague and friends of many years, Dr. Lalith Goonatilake. So, Lalith, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sifana. I mean, it's always a pleasure for me to be in Cambodia. In fact, the first time I came here as a tourist.
When was that?
That was, I think, in 1997.
Wow, yeah. That was quite
so
a long
that
time.
Was in the transformation.
When you were young and still have
relatively
hair.
Young. So, and also it's more the kind of the cultural affiliation of Sri Lanka.
Yes.
I come from Sri Lanka, having a Buddhist culture, and mainly to see Cambodia, how the cultural linkage, and at that time, and I was amazed at, of course, your icon Angkor Wat.
Yes.
Plus also to see that we have historical links here.
Yes.
The Wat Lanka is named under Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka, yes. Yeah.
So we had a lot of exchanges in the past with Sri Lanka and Cambodia in Buddhism. And of course the recent revival of Buddhism in the country. There have been a lot of exchanges between Cambodia and Sri Lanka, training monks and so on.
Wow.
Yes.
Professionally, when was your first encounter with Cambodia?
Professionally was around 1999, I think, or 2000.
Yes.
And this was at the time Cambodia was emerging as a new nation.
Yes.
And we had kind of indications from your then ambassador in Geneva saying that Cambodia is now an emerging country. There are challenges of industrial development. There are challenges of trade. So that was the kind of my professional engagement initially.
And in fact, Lalith, that's when we knew each other. At that time I was Vice Minister of Commerce, and we had the pleasure to have the first big program, you know, for Cambodia on industrial development. We went fundraising together, we got the funding, and that's how Cambodia have come a long way. But Lalith, perhaps you could say a bit about, you know, yourself, UNIDO organization briefly, so that the audience know a bit, you know, what's UNIDO role in this whole aid for trade context, industrial development, you know,
Okay, UNIDO is the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. It's now 44 years old, and our core mandate is to help developing countries industrialize. Now, as you know, job creation is important, your economic gains are important, and those countries that have so far successfully done that are those that have industrialized.
Yes.
So from the UNIDO perspective, we have three areas of focus. One we call poverty reduction through productive activities. That's basically kind of setting the policy framework for industry development. Then promoting small and medium enterprises. The required investment and technology.
Yes.
And also doing all that in a sustainable manner, because today we need to do it more in a responsible manner, so we call it in a green industry type of situation. Then the second part of UNIDO is what our group deals with, is trade capacity building. And the third is energy and environment. We are one of the largest implementers of the Montreal Protocols.
Yes, indeed.
And also the Stockholm Protocol, making clean industry and also energy access to the world.
Lalith, you know, our first encounter when I was with Commerce, we are right in the, in the early phase of applying to join the WTO.
Yeah.
And I must say in those days, most difficult challenge is to convince this member state that Cambodia need help a lot in terms of industrializing.
Yeah.
And in those days, the notion of standard metrology is nowhere near. My understanding at that time, you have been able to work to help the government quite a bit on many law relating to that, right?
Yeah. I think let me step a little back and also say that it was a bold challenge that your government took in 2004, joining the WTO, and thanks to the efforts of your Prime Minister and also the Senior Minister of Commerce, Mr. Champrasid, and yourself. I saw you on CNN walking the streets of Cambodia. The challenge that will bring to the country for the small person with carrying the wares on his shoulder. I mean, you are worried about how Cambodia joining a major international agreement like the World Trade Organization. So that's how our partnership started. And the WTO membership comes with opportunities as well as certain challenges. Now, opportunities are all there. I mean, the whole world is open for you to trade with, but the challenges are mainly how you comply with standards. And also, standard is not only for the export side. Your own market could become a dumping ground for substandard goods.
For substandard goods product.
So that's how our very first intervention, funded by the government of Austria and the government of Norway, was setting the key institutions here, these ISC, Industrial Standards of Cambodia, and also the related legal framework. So the standards law, the initial concepts were provided by UNIDO in this area.
So all these laws are adopted, passed, ratified, being implemented as we speak. In terms of physical lab, that sort of thing, UNIDO has been forcefully helping, no?
And I mean, a standard is a piece of paper which states a product has to be manufactured in such a way, should be safe in such a way. But what you require to demonstrate to the compliance of the standard is a laboratory. Let's say if we have this bottle of water here, is this safe to drink? So you need to test this water. Say there are no harmful chemicals, there are no harmful bacteria. So for that, you require a laboratory. So we have been also engaged in Cambodia developing a number of laboratories. First of all, under Ministry of Mines and Energy, the MIME, the Industrial Laboratory Complex, ILCC, was actually government provided the building, we provided the know-how and the equipment. And actually I'm here this week to in fact celebrate the laboratory that has been now internationally accredited.
Wow.
Meaning that
the ground for
this
celebration.
laboratory has got accreditation from Australia. That if they issue a test result, that you see here, it is the National Testing Authority of Australia giving credibility that
the result is
credible. Now this is a major achievement for a least developed country. Cambodia comes within the 51 least developed country. In my engagement in all the least developed countries, this is the very first of achievement for our least developed country. And the other one that we have done, again celebrating this week, is the rubber laboratory at the Cambodia Rubber Research Institute. And that again, that laboratory has also got international accreditation.
Lalith, you know, we in this area of industrial development, it's such a complex, sophisticated that most of the laymen do not understand. But one thing is clear, that the government policy has been heavily pushing for export, you know, and now the drive is to, there are so many plantations of rubber, right? And you know, the fact that now you have the issue with the shortage of the rubber, Japan, the tsunami, the nuclear crisis, it's provoked a lot of rethinking where the next source of raw material will be. In Cambodia, I met with the Minister of Agriculture. He said by 2020 we will have 300,000 hectares of rubber, and you know, at $5,000 a ton. That's a lot of potential. But to me, that is one side that I must say that thanks to the WTO, thanks to UNIDO, we've been able to have this accreditation, you know, and this morning I was watching CNN, and you see the case of E. coli, you know, this big viral outspread, you know, and that's why it's important that Cambodian lab are in position to do that. My understanding is that the lab that you help certify does that sort of thing.
In fact, it's good that, I mean, at the end of the day, your development objectives have to link to jobs.
Yes.
I mean, you have so much youth in the country, and jobs is the ultimate area for development. Rubber, the last 4 or 5 years, the world rubber prices have doubled.
Yes.
And the projections are this would even go up because of the high consumption of China and India. Now, rubber also is useful for the country because the labor required is high, but also it's only short term because you only work in the morning for 3 hours.
Exactly.
That allows you to do your farm in the evening.
In the afternoon.
Afternoon, So in that sense, what we have done with these type of laboratories is now Cambodia can export to more demanding markets. And as a result of accreditation, the International Rubber Council has recognized Cambodia's rubber and the grading system that you're going to use. So that will have a tremendous impact.
Much more value.
Much more value added and also much more employment generation at the end.
Yes.
So I think this is the way to go. And if I may just add the other sectors, your government sector has done well. And also now you need to think about what is the next stage. Are you going to be just at the lower end of stitching? Should you go for higher value added?
Is there any role for UNIDO in that area?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we are currently active in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, which are much larger countries. In fact, the Sri Lanka, the government sector, we have supported the training labs.
Yes.
And training facilities, and also their labs we have accredited for the government sector.
For the government sector? What sort of lab is that?
This is, if you take a shirt, you need to, let's say, see the strength of the stitch.
Ah, the strength of the stitch.
The strength of the stitch.
Wow, that's metrology, no?
And then rubbing, for example. Does it withstand rubbing?
Wow.
If you wash, does it shrink? Do we have harmful chemicals?
You know, I don't think many people know that. I don't think so.
So all that spectrum of tests, there are about 200 tests that goes through. So at the moment, maybe some of the buyers of Cambodian governments, they may be testing it overseas.
I see.
There's a cost and time involved. So if you really want to expand the government sector, some stage you need to have your own laboratory.
But this could be private sector, you know, investment, right? Because it's a service rendered, you know. But does it have to? But I think for sure the government have to have a say in terms of regulatory norm, standard, that sort of thing.
There are a mix between in this area what is a public good and what is a private good.
Okay.
Now standards is definitely a public good.
Yes.
Accreditation is a public good.
Yes.
Testing could be a mixed one.
Yes.
But an emerging economy, unless the demand is sufficient, no private sector would come and set up the lab. So the model could be a public-private
private sector.
Government provides some of the initial funding. The donors could come in also. Donors love engagement of the private sector. So we have models of this nature in other countries.
You know, Lalith, I cannot help but to mention something that this government is currently pushing very hard, which is the export of rice and cassava and corn, cashew nut. For example, for rice, for example, I think the phytosanitary aspect is not as stringent, but still, you know, there have to be some sort of standard. For cassava, for example, since we